All right. Well, hello everyone and welcome back. It's great to see all of your beautiful smiling faces. So happy to be back in this beautiful city. How are we doing, Miami? No, just kidding. I'm in Shreveport. Okay. All right. Well, joining me today is my host and co-host Peter of Gonna Go For It fame.
Hello. I still,
Welcome,
yeah,
welcome
it,
back.
it the Jackson Wheat demon struck again. I'm still here, but I was out of internet minutes before the show, so let's see if we can pull this off. If we
And I
don't,
was also having weird problems, so yeah.
yeah. Well, Elon Musk's toy isn't working that well lately. I mean, that's been down for me mm, almost every day this week.
His toy is that Starlink?
No, Twitter.
Oh. Well, I was having some weird problems also. Um just a minute ago with both Twitter and YouTube, and so I reset my internet, and then it's fine now. But I don't know why it was just acting super strange. Nestle is not with us. He's super busy right now doing educational stuff, which I know all about. He's working on his thesis and doing TA, which I don't envy him. I remember doing all that. No, I'm good. I'm good. You know. Uh, I although for those all of you wondering, I'm sure. This semester, let's see, I teach 4 classes. I have 3 Bio 1 classes. One is for science majors, it's an online class. 2 are for non-science majors, so those are in-person lectures. And then I have a Bio 2 class that is also for non-science majors. So Bio 1 is typically like cellular and molecular stuff. So you start with you begin the class by talking about chemistry, and then you build up atoms come together to make molecules, molecules come together to make macromolecules, which make up organelles, which make up cells, so on, so on. And then you go through like what cellular respiration is, what photosynthesis is, and then you spend much of the class talking about DNA, how it replicates, how it produces proteins, how it's regulated, how what sort of technology we have that allow us to utilize DNA in a variety of different manners. And then the class ends. The last couple lectures are about evolution, so it's a fun time. Um, I love those last 2 lectures because it's like the first one is about natural selection, sexual selection, and then the second one is how do we know that evolution has occurred in deep time? And so I get to go through one of my favorite topics, which is paleontology. We talk a lot about fossils and biogeography. It's so much fun. I love it. I love teaching. Teaching is my uh, it's what I want to do long term. Like once Camille and I eventually, we hope, get accepted into a doctoral school, and then we work on our doctorates, and then we become. I mean, I'm a professor, or we're both professors right now, but be professors and also doing research. That's my long term goal. Yeah. So Omar Zek, I'm not working on one yet. I have my master's, um, and I have not been applying recently for any uh, PhD schools, but I should be doing that, but I have not been doing that recently. So so Camille and I are just teaching right now, and also I work at the Shreveport Aquarium, so I get to have the best of both worlds. I get to do science communication in 2 completely different capacities, or really 3 different capacities, I guess. I get to do it here on YouTube, which is fun, as a hobby. I get to do it at the aquarium because I'm the science manager over there. So I create the scientific content, which is a lot of fun. So like a lot of the educational materials and stuff. And then also I get to teach at a community college. So I get to have all these different you know my feet are in different boxes, or I'm in different little.
Our lives
We got lots
couldn't
of
be
irons in the.
our lives couldn't be more different. You're teaching. I've been learning this week. So we have 2 cabins. One is where we live in. The other one is now basically my workshop, and I also have my computer room there, and the bird. Um, and the heating broke. The central heater broke.
Oh no.
So I learned how a central heater works, and I managed to fix it
Okay.
because, yeah, it's cold here. I mean,
I bet it
very,
is.
very cold, below freezing at times.
Uh,
Not a
we're
time of the year to have no heating at all. I mean,
Oh yeah, no, absolutely not. We're actually about to have sub-freezing weather here in Louisiana. Um, we're there are forecasts of snow, which for us is like a death sentence. We have no winter infrastructure whatsoever, so everything will just shut down and break. So this weekend on like Friday night into the wee hours of Saturdays when the snow is supposed to start, and it may go all through Saturday. We're not sure yet, but that's kind of what it looks like. And so it's supposed to be below freezing from like Friday through Saturday, Sunday, um,
may,
into
may,
Monday.
may I suggest to not participate in traffic? Just watch it unfold into
Yeah,
chaos.
I definitely don't want to go anywhere if that ends up being the case. So
Mm-hmm.
if Louisiana's frozen, you can walk across the swamps. True. So you know when the weather is going to be bad when Ted Cruz has already been spotted on a flight. So
Yeah. Icarus says
for anyone who's
Netherlands below zero in height and temperature, which,
true,
yeah.
uh, Tabula Rasa 0606. That is true. Yes, that is true. Apparently Texas is really in for it. For Ted Cruz has gone cruising. Yeah, you know weather's going to be
Mhm.
bad when Ted Cruz has already been spotted on a plane. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
He's
I love
if he's
that he's
off to
abandoning his
Cancun,
city.
something's happening.
Yeah, I love that he's abandoning his city for the second time during a major snowstorm. That's just so funny. Cuz he got shamed into coming back from his vacation last time. And he's doing it again. It's like, all right, man, whatever. Um
I mean,
I also saw
you can't blame him with Trump as a president. There's not much you can do for people to say, "Hey, you're not good enough." I mean, I don't know if
Omar
you
Zach said, oh, do it.
I don't know if you followed the speeches recently. I mean,
Not in particular. I'm
oh
mostly just watching the country uh, fall into a fascistic wasteland. I haven't really been
yeah,
paying particular attention to things Trump has been saying.
I'm not a fan of Mark Rutte of NATO, but the fact that he actually schooled Trump on his lies on live television, he scored a few points.
Yeah, Jerome Powell did that. I think it was like a year or so ago, when Trump was like, "We're gonna do," or it's like, "We're working on this. Everything we're doing this," and Powell was like, "No, we've already done that. We're working on something else right now." And he was like, "Okay, well, we're gonna do this other thing," and he's like, "No, we're not. That's not what it is." It was just really funny watching him. He's like, "Nope, nope, that's not it." Um, but yeah, I love when people are able to do that. Omar Zuck says, "I hope you do with regard to the PhD. I've been watching your channel since you were in high school. Impossible. I started my channel when I was in my first year of college, actually, which was Jesus
In
Christ,
in
almost a
in
decade ago.
in all fairness, I made your first logo. You looked like you were fresh out of high school. I'm just saying.
I Yep. Way back in the day when you did videos about the Precambrian. Yeah, that was
You had
that was
you
a long
had
time ago. Yeah.
Enzo
So
wrapped
this,
around your neck. Remember?
yep, he's still around. That old kitty. He's still kicking. Not not doing as well, but he's still around. Um, Old
That's
man.
cool.
Uh, He's an old cat. And Yeah,
What?
so I started the channel in my first semester of my freshman year of college when I had just started at at LSU in Baton Rouge, and I won't go into the whole story again. I've told it before on this channel, but at any rate, I met a creationist. He told me to watch a YouTube channel with some stupid video or some stupid series. And then my roommate at the time, my first college roommate, convinced me to make a YouTube channel responding to it, and then things spiraled out of control from there. Um,
And
so
now
yeah,
it's
it's
and now it's
it's
a
all been
weekly
fun.
job.
Um, you came across as a very young guy back then. Your logo looked very young. Yes, it did.
Hmm.
I mean, unfortunately, I've got um gray hairs in here. So I'm only 28, so I've already started getting gray hairs.
I I
Uh,
have this lovely friend in the UK, and I can remember as if it was yesterday that she messaged me on Twitter, Peter, I found this fantastic guy you need to meet. He's from the United States of America, and
you
so
said, "Oh,
that's
there's one that's
that's
not a complete idiot in the U.S."
I mean that's how this whole thing got started.
Yeah. And look at us now, Peter.
Yes,
We have now managed to meet like pretty much all of the like YouTube skeptic community.
yes.
We've interacted in one form or another with like all of them. We've done collaborations. I've been to like Faithless Forum a couple of times, and I've met like
Talk to the most.
everybody. I've met like Holy Kool Aid and Genetically Modified Skeptic. I've hung out with Arn Ra a couple times. Met Matt Dillahunty and everything. And I've met all the people who, when I was in middle and high school watching YouTube, I was like, wow, these people are super cool. They're debating creationists and conservatives and all that.
Hmm.
And then I got to meet them, and I've made friends with a lot of them nowadays, and that's really cool.
I mean, I work with Arn, and whenever your name comes up, he can't help himself but praise you for your knowledge, and so every single time. That
Oh, well,
and
that's very nice. That's very nice of him.
and you forgot to mention the scientists that we got to meet. I mean, I got to meet Sean Carroll. I got to meet I forgot his name. The guy who found
Well, you've met
Lucy.
Neil Shubin now, haven't you?
Neil Shubin.
Donald Prothero,
Donald
PZ
Prothero.
Myers.
PZ Myers.
Yeah.
I got a mention on his blog saying my friend contacted me, and then a link to my Twitter account. That's one off the bucket list. That wasn't even on the bucket list to begin with.
Yeah.
I'm pretty proud
I
of that.
remember watching, like the Atheist Experience back when Matt Dillahunty was on that years ago out of Austin, and so like it was a super cool experience to be on the line with him. I was like, I get to do a show with Matt Dillahunty. Like, wow, this is something I used to watch myself. So it's funny like how far we come, and like getting also not just meeting people who I really respect, but getting to come up with other channels who
Mm-hmm.
I also have deep and immense respect for, like Erica of Guts at Gibbon, Dapper Dinosaur, Dan Stern Cardinal, Zach Hancock, and
Still a little bit
who else?
underrated, Natalia Reagan. Let me do a shameless plug
Yeah,
here.
got to meet her. That was a lot of fun. Um, yeah, I mean the whole group, the whole like all the science friends. We've all like collaborated with Professor Dave on different debunks and stuff. So like, um, it's been really cool. I've really enjoyed getting to both meet people I really respect and make friends with lots of really cool people through this medium who came. I don't know if you guys have seen the pictures, but Erica and Jordan of Press X to Doubt. He came, they came to my wedding, and Grayson Hawk also came to my wedding, and Camilla, and they're all awesome people. I love them, love their channels. So yeah, it's like it's a cool time. We have a great community of
Yep.
people just in general. It back in the day, and when I say back in the day, I mean back in like the aughts and early 20 teens, the atheist community was very toxic. The skeptic community was very
Mhm.
toxic. It was very divided. You had lots of polarization. People were always sniping at each other, making videos about I'm not friends anymore with so and so because of this and that and the other, and they were all doing all that. When the dust finally settled in the mid 20 teens, the community that developed like Pelagia, Aaron Raw, PZ, Matt Dillahunty, Holy Kool-Aid, Genetically Modified Skeptic, all these people, they're all great people. They're wonderful.
Mhm.
They're all genuine people. It's been a pleasure to like meet and interact with all of them. Uh, they're all great people. Like I really like them, and so I'm really glad that uh, that all these people are super cool, and that we have a great community of of skeptics and science communicators and whatnot. So
I'm
yeah.
currently working on my biggest thing ever on YouTube. If I actually pull this off, Arn asked me to get him a guest. If I get this guest, I can just quit YouTube because then there's nothing more to do for me. But
Okay.
I'll keep people posted.
Okay. All right. Smitty, you're right. I mean, there are still some toxic people and toxic behavior, and I mean, there's always going to be that. Certainly,
Yeah.
it just in general the whole tenor of YouTube skeptic community, whatever you want to call it, is different. Is much better now than it was in 20 teens and aughts. Much better.
Mm-hmm.
Am I frozen? No, I'm okay.
No,
There we
you're okay.
go. Okay. Oh, I also wanted to read before we do the video. I know I've been talking for a while, but I know there's been some news, some cool science news today. Two papers that I became aware of. One of them because of Nestlig, and I would have him explain it to you guys if he were here, but he's not, so you get to hear me explain it. And then the other one I actually just found out. Actually, right after I read the paper that he posted, I came across another paper that just came out, and it blew my mind. Okay, so a paper came out in Nature, I think recently, a couple days ago, that shows vertebrates ancestrally had four eyes. So they wore glasses. No, just kidding. Um, so we, as mammals, I actually just got some new glasses, believe it or not. Um, we mammals, as well as birds, we only have two eyes. These ones right here. Yep. Reptiles, amphibians, and fish, and jawed fish have three. That third eye is on top of their head. It's not used for seeing. It can't see shapes. It's called a pineal eye or a parietal eye. Either way. But what it does is it detects light. Because your pineal gland, whether you're a human or a blue whale or a skink or a bird or whatever, uh, it your pineal gland regulates the production of melatonin, which regulates your sleep wake cycle. In theory, some of us, not so much, but for some of us, that's what it does.
The
And
sleep-wake
so,
cycle.
right, what is that?
As the guy from Europe who's always on YouTube in the middle of the night.
Well,
I need one of
sleep-ish.
those.
Uh, yeah, probably. So it turns out that this one pineal eye that these guys have on the top of their head, it was actually a pair originally. It wasn't just one, it was a pair. And they had sight capabilities. So these two ancestral pineal eyes degraded, they reduced over time, and one of them kind of disappeared first. So there were two, one kind of disappeared first, and then the other one was still being used for sight, just in photoreception. So it could detect light, but couldn't really see. Lizards and frogs and whatnot, they can't see with their pineal eye. And then it was lost in early mammals. And so this new paper shows that, so while we're aware of the pineal eye in these other vertebrates, the fact that these new specimens of, I think it was Hycoichthyes, were just discovered that have a pair of pineal eyes. So they have their two regular eyes and then their two pineal eyes. And so they're very meticulously preserved. And so this allows us to recognize that that is an ancestral character for vertebrates, is that vertebrates originally had 4 eyes, which went down to 3, and now in birds and mammals it's just the 2. How crazy is that?
It's really interesting, and I still have the urge to stop you in the middle of this piece of information because young Earth creationists are going to clip this and say, "See, loss of information, loss of information."
Loss of information. Yep.
It's degrading. We're devolving.
Yes. So Andrew Cummings says like 2 simple eyes, 2 complex eyes. It's more like 4 camera eyes. So they had 4 camera eyes, and then 2 of them got lost ultimately. And so to answer Smitty's question, yes, synapses and archosaurs lost their third eye independently as they. So the ancestors of both had the third eye, and then as they went separate directions, eventually archosaurs lost it independently because lepidosaurs, lizards and snakes, they still have it. And how does this relate to Joe Rogan doing a ton of mescaline? Can he unlock the psychic side of both eyes independently? Possibly. It's entirely possible. The pineal eyes were camera eyes initially. They lost that function over time. Yes. Sorry if I didn't make that clear. Sorry. So originally the pineal eyes were camera eyes, just like our normal eyes, but one was lost, and then the second one lost the ability to see images. So that's the first weird thing. So it turns out vertebrates ancestrally had 4 eyes, and then 2 were lost. The other weird thing is about a guy called Prototaxites. So Prototaxites is generally considered a large fungus. So PBS Eons did a whole video about it. It looks like a big stump, like a big tree stump. It was initially mistaken for a tree when it was first discovered because it does kind of look sort of cylindrical, kind of like a tree trunk. And so when the first researchers found it back in like the late 1800s, they thought it was a part of a tree. Which is why they called it Prototaxites, which means first U. That's YEW. Then a researcher came along a little bit later and said, no, this isn't a tree. This is a marine algae. And it basically sat as a marine algae for the next century. And then in the, I think it was either late 90s or early 2000s, another team of researchers finally comes along and reanalyzes all the Prototaxites that have been discovered. And they said, no, it's a lichen. So it's a combination fungus and algae, and green algae. And then some researchers came along a bit later and said, no, it's not a lichen, it's just a fungus. What they did was some isotopic analyses. They looked at the isotopes that were in Prototaxites, and they concluded, based on the analysis of particular types of carbon that were in, or the particular isotopes that were in it, is that it could not be a lichen because it did not have the ratios of these isotopes to be a phototroph. So it was not making its own food. It was getting its food from the environment. It's a heterotroph, like us. It eats its own food, whatever that is. So that kind of pushed us in the direction of, okay, it's not a lichen, it's a fungus on its own. And then some morphological analyses came out that further supported the fungus conclusion. A paper came out just a couple of years ago, or a few years ago now. It was in 2022, Jesus Christ, that argued that, yes, it is a fungus. It's kind of like it's a rhizomorph, which is like a giant set of rhizoids. So like the sort of fungal roots. So you have like a mycelial network. And so they were like, okay, what if Prototaxites is actually like one just giant or it's not a tall, not an upward standing mycelial network. What if it lays on its side? So we've been interpreting it wrong. It's not standing up, it's laying down. So it's a rhizomorph. So then that was the idea. Okay, that was a few years ago. And then a paper just comes out that says, nope, it's not a fungus. It's not a fungus. It's not an algae. It's not a plant. We don't know what it is. So some new specimens were discovered of prototaxides that are so well preserved, it even allowed researchers to see like what was going on inside the prototaxides. And these researchers concluded it's not any group that we know of. It's not any clade of eukaryotes that we are currently aware of. It fits in nothing. So it's
I should have stopped you, because now the creationist is going to say, see, science doesn't know what they're talking about. They keep changing everything.
It's true, you know, that
so it's cool. So we have a whole new clade of something that we weren't aware of.
Yeah, so the researchers in their paper, they're just kind of like, it's a clade of eukaryotes. We don't know what kind, because the different characteristics that they say prototaxides has disqualify it from every known clade. So it could be some extinct unknown clade, some group of protists maybe that had a certain set of characteristics, and protists don't really leave a fossil record. So the only remnant of this clade is prototaxides, because that's the only thing large enough to get preserved in the record. Nothing else was large enough. And so that's an instance of what's called taphonomic bias. So small, soft organisms are very, very unlikely to get preserved in the fossil record. They get squished when they die, you know, and their parts go everywhere, and then, you know, that's it. And so the only protists in the fossil record that we really have are, like, for instance, foraminifera, radiolarians, diatoms, coccoliths, things like that have these shells. They have tough, either calcium carbonate or silicate shells, and so that protects them. These things, they, you know, fall to the bottom of the sediment. They get collected and they get buried, but they don't break down. So yeah. So my unfinished journey says, hail Jackson and Peter, and hail the third eye. Very true.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And Andrew says, another eukaryotic supergroup to add to the collection. Yes. So we're not sure what it is. Maybe some more research will come out about it. One of the guys who was on it, his last name is Loron, however you pronounce it, Loron, and he does a lot of like fungal evolution stuff, and so it's. So we'll see. You know, we'll see what it ends up being. I'm intrigued. So, all right, that's all the news for me.
There we go.
We ready to finish?
Yeah, I was a little bit worried. So one of the things that happened when I lost my internet, it threw off my ability to be able to pull up a comment, but that works again.
Oh, that's good.
It's so great that you have to reset everything. I mean,
right.
Anyway, so you wanna start off with the video? I mean, we're almost halfway through the show.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. What do I do? That.
The fact is, we can't predict the future climate. It's simply not possible. And everybody should acknowledge that. And every scientist does.
Do they?
While humans do influence the climate, we can't control the climate. To think that we can is the height of hubris, the Greek word for overconfidence. What we can do is adapt to whatever Mother Nature throws our way. Human beings have a long history of being very good at that. We can build seawalls, we can better manage our water resources, and implement better disaster warning and management protocols. These are things we can control.
Okay, pause a
If we
second.
focus on that,
Okay, so the solution to increasing temperatures, which will then melt the ice caps and raise the water levels or the ocean levels of the ocean. Her solution to that is, yeah, we'll just build a seawall. It's fine. It's fine. We'll just have extremely expensive solutions that are like easy and ready to implement, no problem, because that's reasonable. That's something that's definitely going to happen.
In short, you need the Dutch. Just
you need
saying.
the Dutch. Oh, is it?
The best.
I mean,
the best
true.
sea defenses on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
So
The best sea defense.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah, well,
half of our country is 7 feet below sea level. So
okay.
we have some strong walls to get rid of the water, moving ones even.
Yeah, I mean, Peter, I'm sure you've heard of New Orleans, which is also below sea
Yes.
level, and they are phenomenal historically at managing storms that hit it. Just terrific. There's
So,
never been
correct me if
a
I'm wrong.
massive storm.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't there at some point that the Dutch were going to secure everything there, that in case of a flood, nothing bad could happen, and that someone canceled the funding for all of that, and then Hurricane Katrina came?
Maybe Hurricane Katrina. First, I'm hearing of this. More like Hurricane Tortilla. Am I right? Yeah. So yeah, Hurricane Katrina happened, and it was real bad. A lot of people died, and a lot of property was destroyed. Much of the city was destroyed. It was definitely flooded at the very least. And then there was another hurricane that hit New York a number of years ago. What hurricane was that? Does anyone remember? What was the hurricane that hit New York? Sandy. I knew it started with an S. Hurricane Sandy. Hurricane Sandy was really bad. Yeah, Hurricane Sandy was the worst storm to hit New York since at least 1700. Good lord. Yeah, it's really bad. My unfinished sock. Don't spew catastrophic lies about climate change. Like and share the stream instead. Yes, true. I mean, Helene was another one that was really bad. There was also, I mean, the hurricane that hit. Was it the hurricane that hit Asheville last year? That one like wiped out the city. Like the city's just like parts of it are gone because of that hurricane. By the way, for the record, hurricane or the storms, the damage incurred by storms is getting worse annually.
Yes.
So the storm, the storm, would you say the intensity is getting worse year over year. There are more storms. They're causing more damage year after year. Like this isn't up for debate. It's just not. And so to say like, oh, we'll just adapt to it, it'll be fine. Like, but that's not true. When we have problems that are even like short-term problems, things that we could fix, if we put enough resources and time and effort into it, things like when famines happen, these cause mass migrations of people, right? So like we had famines in in parts of Africa and in parts of the Middle East because of Russia invading Ukraine, which is a major source of grain for a lot of other countries. So there was mass migration from some of these areas. During the Syrian civil war, there was a lot of mass migration, and there was a lot of pushback from European countries that didn't want to take in Syrian refugees. I mean, for goodness sakes, look at us in the U.S. right now. There's so much
Yeah.
pushback against countries from Central and South America who try to send people here because, again, it's our terrible policies that have. Okay, sorry. Andrew was right. Okay. As far as I know, the frequency of storms isn't increasing, but a greater fraction of those that do occur are higher category ones. Okay, that's what it was. Thank you for correcting me on that one. The so our policies here in the U.S., our foreign policies have been very bad, and we've overthrown a lot of countries that had democratically elected leaders. I mean, heck, we right now, I mean, Maduro was not democratically elected; he seized power, but it was our policies under Trump's previous term that tanked, pun intended, Venezuela's oil export industry, which caused famines in the country. Right? They didn't have any money to buy anything because they could not sell oil because we placed tariffs on them, and so they couldn't sell oil, right? And we threatened other states with retaliatory tariffs if they attempted to trade with Venezuela. So this crashed Venezuela's economy and caused at least it's estimated something like 40,000 deaths within the country. And then we seized the leader of the country recently for having or for not exporting the oil, according to Trump, which were his own policies that caused that.
Did he get the Nobel Peace Prize for that?
From the Venezuelan woman who's an idiot? Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Just nuts. And he apparently alleged that the reason, or that him not getting a Nobel Prize is why he's invading Greenland.
Yes, that's what he wrote to the Norwegian president, that he's attacking Denmark because Norway didn't allow him to get the Peace Prize. So because he's mad at Norway, he's attacking Denmark.
Yeah.
Scandinavian countries are complicated for Mr. Trump.
It's true. He's also repeatedly confused Greenland with Iceland. That's a thing that happened.
Yes.
I mean, last year he did claim that researchers were transing the mice because he thought that transgenic mice meant that the mice were transgender.
Yes.
These people are all science illiterate buffoons, so I don't know why we thought that anybody. Why I'm surprised for that. Andrew Cummings says it's not like we've cut clean energy investments when the cost of electricity is rising in many states. Again, true, and we had and that's that follows a very long line of similar projects like the Tennessee Valley Act that provided electricity at cheaper rates than what other companies, which was a government subsidized electric plant that provided power more cheaply than other private companies or privately owned companies. And the privately owned companies had to put out a whole propaganda campaign to say that no, actually, it's not cheaper. Don't look over there. Look somewhere else. Yes. Can someone explain why Trump thinks he deserves Venezuelan oil? For the same reason that
for the same reason
we deserve anything in any country. We just want to do it. I mean, we literally overthrew the government of Guatemala for a banana company. That was the United Fruit Company, which is Chiquita now. But we literally overthrew the country. We funded Juan Castillo Armas, who was in his guerrillas to overthrow President Jacobo Arbenz because a fruit company asked us to. Technically, they asked. They didn't ask the U.S. directly. They asked Edward Bernays, who was the creator of the concept of personal relations, and then he lobbied Eisenhower to overthrow the government of Guatemala. So anyway, the answer is yes. The answer is because we can. We decided we want to, and so we will, and that's what we do because why not? Why not? Anyway, sorry, off track. Let's go back to her.
Okay.
There's every reason to be optimistic about our future. I'm Judith Curry for Prager University.
Okay. I love that. I love
Have
the
you
idea
noticed?
of like, oh yeah, we should just be optimistic. Like, have you seen the world we live in right now? What are you optimistic about?
Did
Your
you
next
watch her
check from
face? Did you watch her
ExxonMobil?
face when she said that? That looked
We have
really
every
optimistic.
reason to be optimistic about the future.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Lord.
it's I thought that was no Leon no Thyleka Leon Kennedy. There is no political or legal justification beyond that. Yeah, no, you're right. So, okay, usually in years past, um politicians would usually at least you're right, try to come up with some kind of veneer like, "Oh, well, we're invading Iraq because they have weapons of mass destruction." Right? And that was a lie. We knew it was a lie before we went in. It was a lie. Like it didn't change, right? Okay. So, but at least there was a lie there, right? There's a line from the season 2 of Andor that I really like, and it's Mon Mothma is talking with Senator Bail Organa, and she says, or he says something to the effect of like, they don't even bother to lie to us anymore, and she says like, and that's the final embarrassment or final humiliation or something like that. At any rate, the point is, she says the fascists don't even bother to lie anymore, right? They just tell you what they want to do, right? So, um, and yeah, it's pretty bad. But yeah, I mean, you can look at Trump's policies during his first term regarding Venezuela. It's because of him that the Venezuelan oil industry or oil export industry tanked. The exports dropped by 80% because of his policies, and then he turned around and blamed Venezuela for his own policies.
Mhm.
Now, is Maduro a good guy? No,
No.
he's not. He's a dictator. He did not hold a free election. Does that mean we can just whisk him away? Also, no.
No.
And at any rate, we're not doing it because he didn't hold a free and fair election anyways. I mean, this is Donald Trump we're talking about, for God's sakes. This is the guy who literally orchestrated January 6th, the attempt to overthrow the U.S. election by submitting fake slates of electors in swing states, so that the alternate electors would pick him over Joe Biden. And these guys went to jail over that. They literally, the fake electors who showed up at state capitol buildings and tried to say, "Hey, we are the actual electors," they went to jail in a bunch of states. They literally got arrested and thrown in prison. And so it's really crazy to me that like the only thing that conservatives ever talk about with regard to January 6th, and it's not just conservatives, I should say most people, the only thing most people talk about with January 6th is the attack on the White House. Or not the White House, I'm sorry, the Capitol building. I'm sorry,
Capitol.
my mistake. Is the attack on the Capitol building. And so they talk about the attack on the Capitol building, like, oh, people smashed the windows and everything. I think that's bad. They assaulted, Capitol Police, they smashed windows, blah, blah, blah. But that was not the worst thing that happened. While it was very bad and very embarrassing, and I'm glad a bunch of them went to jail, the much worse thing was the slates of fake electors. That was the much worse thing that really doesn't get talked about all that much, because I think most people don't even know that it happened. They see the big flashy thing, like, ooh, attack on the Capitol, but they don't talk about the actual important thing. The call to Raffensperger. And I'm getting off track here. We can go through this video. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I keep getting off track. Anyway, let's watch the video.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with being passionate about the future of your own country, I think. So,
I mean, we have a dictator in office right now. We have a bunch of neo-fascists running this country. ICE is the Gestapo. Like,
yeah. It's depressing.
I don't know what else to say about it.
It's very depressing. But
Yeah,
the
it sure
guy
is.
on screen
Yeah.
looks happy, so shall we watch him?
Hey,
For
at
a
least
bit?
he's optimistic about the
Yeah.
future.
That every extreme weather event is blamed on climate change, formerly known as
Oh,
global
not
warming?
everyone.
Every single
Still global
one.
warming. It's
Can
still
you
global
think of an
warming.
exception? Too hot? Climate change. Too cold? Climate change. Drought? Climate change. Too much rainfall? Climate change. And there's
Okay,
always
so
a
pause
climate
for a second.
scientist at some university who's willing to make a statement blaming the current
Here, pause
catastrophe
for a second.
on our profligate use.
So okay, so what he's doing here is being disingenuous, obviously. When he says if it's too hot, it's climate change. If it's too cold, it's climate change. So these are obviously not occurring in the same locations. So based on the little image there, he's acting like it's too hot and it's too cold in the same locations. This is just simply not true. And in fact, so the minimum temperature for the decade is higher than the minimum temperature for the previous decade. The maximum temperature for the current decade is higher than the maximum temperature for the previous decade, and higher than the maximum temperature for the decade before that. These are just facts, okay? The minimum temperature for each decade, like the minimum, average temperature, I should say. Let me specify the minimum average temperature. Or no, sorry. You have the average temperature, you have the minimum temperature, and the max temperature. Okay, so all three of these, are all higher for this decade than the previous one, and then higher than the previous one. And you don't have to take my word for it. You can go plot the data points for yourself. You can go to the Berkeley website and download the entire it's like thousands of lines of Excel, which I have done. You can copy it, you can plot them, you can see how it goes up over decades. The last 10 hottest years have been the last 10 years. So when he talks about there's unusual cold weather, what he's referring to is that you have I wish Nestle were here. Nestle can explain this a lot better than I can. But you have these circumpolar currents, and as the Earth gets warmer, as the atmosphere gets progressively warmer, instead of having this tight, nice circle around the poles, these polar currents, these start getting more wobbly. And so at first, some of the some places are going to get colder, are going to have colder extreme events. Okay. But the Earth as a whole is still getting warmer. And so that polar current is going to get wobbly before it disappears completely, before it shrinks away. And so some places are going to have mostly either very northerly ones or very southerly ones are going to have maybe more extreme cold events for a little bit. But on average, the temperature is still going to be higher that year than for the year before it, and the year before that, and so on. So the temperature's still going up, even if you have an extreme cold event. The same is true when he talks about extreme drought, extreme precipitation. There are places, most places are going to experience extreme drought, right? Because as the water evaporates, so the water cycle actually speeds up under warming temperatures, right? It's more kinetic energy that is in the atmosphere. It's being being transferred to the water, causing evaporation, and then condensation up in the atmosphere, and then precipitation. So the water cycle speeds up, and that water gets actually carried away faster to other places and does not have time to travel the distance that it normally needs to, so that places get their adequate amounts of precipitation. And so you're experiencing droughts in most places, right? Like continental interiors are going to be experiencing droughts more, even though maybe on the coastal areas you'll still get more rainfall. So because of the speeding up of the water cycle. And if I say anything wrong for everybody watching me, please correct me in the side chat if I say anything incorrect. Climate is not my background. Okay, I want to make that apparent. So what he's doing is he's being disingenuous. He's acting like like extreme heat and extreme cold are happening in the same place. Same for extreme drought and extreme precipitation, but these are not happening in the same places. These are happening in different places because climate's impacting the world, the geography differently based on where you are. Are you on like, the coastal side of a mountain range? Are you on the inland side of a mountain range? Are you in like a, on a flat plain that's not near the ocean? Are you, wherever, right? Is this more equatorial locations? There's all these considerations that have to go into this. That's just, oh, it's cold or it's hot or it's rainy or it's dry. It's all climate change. Like, that's not how anyone thinks about climate change. It's just disingenuous. So, yes. So you get record level floods in some places and record level droughts in other places. Yes, Icarus, that's 100% correct. You get both because these are in different places. Right.
Yeah.
And so he's saying like in climate. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, Tabula Rasa said, reminds me of Jay during Arn's stream earlier. Yet Arn had a guy in chat who listed the weight of a cloud and then asked us, "You can't explain how that's floating in the air." The kind of level of people we deal with.
Okay. All right. So yeah. What does he say next?
Okay, let's see.
A fossil fuel. Some years ago, on The Late Show with David Letterman, MSNBC host Rachel Maddow made the definitive statement on this issue. She said, "I think global warming probably means extreme weather of all kinds." Naturally, hey, right. Dave agreed. What's behind all these confident assertions?
She's right. Yeah.
As a PhD in geochemistry, former member of the University of Alabama Department of Geological Sciences, and someone who has written and lectured widely on the subject of climate and geology, I can tell you that it comes down to two things: obscure metrics and highly speculative models. Mix these ingredients together and voila.
Okay, so what I love about climate change is, and I think this is actually a very good tactic for climate change deniers, is they categorize everything. They say every argument is speculative models. We don't need models. What we know about climate change is based on the past. It is based on the data we already have. We already have data on increasing amounts of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. The ratio of carbon 12 to carbon 13 is skewed, which we would expect if the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is coming from the increased burning of fossil fuels, because it ultimately derived from photosynthetic organisms. Like, we can detect atmospheric changes. You can take atmospheric samples. Like, I don't know what we're talking about here. You can detect that the planet's warming all over the planet. You don't have to just have like a thermometer out back. You can do it literally with satellites over the planet that we've been doing for like a decade now, at least a decade, decades.
Jackson, yes, you're trying to educate a guy who found a quote from an MSNBC host on a show with David Letterman and using that as evidence for his point.
That's true.
I mean, how far do you need to dig if that's what you come up with? How much digging for quotes is there involved with videos like this? That I want to know.
I mean, he was clearly, like at home with his family, watching the late night comedy whatevers, and he saw Rachel Maddow come on David Letterman's show, and he's like, "Oh, she's talking about climate. I have to do a video. I have to do a response to this.
I need to make a note of this because I can probably use that quote sometime in the future in a video of my denial of the facts."
Peter, one time I watched a show on I don't know, Saturday morning cartoons, and I didn't like one of the things that they said on Saturday morning cartoons, and so I disagree, and I have to do a PragerU video about this actually. So yeah, I have to be on PragerU. Actually, it's funny. I was unfortunately, I made the mistake of listening to listening to the radio this morning, and I like having my radio on the classic rock channel, which has these two dunces named Walton and Johnson, and they're conservatives, and they say the most abhorrent, repellent things. This morning, they had the governor on, Jeff Landry, and they were all talking about like, oh, what's wrong with having the 10 Commandments in the classroom? Who's afraid of the 10 Commandments? Obviously, they're being disingenuous. Obviously, like, you know as well as I do that this is a breach of the First Amendment. Like, what are we talking about? You like brainless hacks. Like, it's so obviously a breach of the First Amendment.
I would be in favor of having the 10 Commandments in classrooms right next to the tenets of the Satanic Temple. Because if we can't do it for one denomination or religion, then we can do it for another, right? That's why the Satanic Temple started. This is how people should counter it. Hey, let's do that. And then we will invite the Satanic Temple to write their plaque. Usually that takes care of everything.
Yep, equal time. I mean, obviously they would, deface it or whatever, because they're dishonest. They're disingenuous. They're dishonest. They know, as well as all the rest of us do. They're adults. They have working brains. They know that it's a breach of the First Amendment, and they don't care. I mean, they're Christian nationalists. So at the end of the day, their job, their mission is to input a theocracy that makes all other ideologies subservient to it. Like, that's their goal, end of the day.
So Tabula Rasa said, do it in original language. Let's do the original 10 Commandments as they are mentioned in the Bible, that you shall not boil a lamb in its mother's milk, or what is it?
Yeah,
those 10 Commandments.
Are there like 600 rules?
No, there's a set of 10 Commandments which is completely different from the usual 10 Commandments, but those are the official 10 Commandments as listed in the Bible. It's the second set, because Moses dropped the first set.
I don't even know. I'd have to.
No, it's a baby goat. You can't boil a baby goat in its mother's milk. That was it.
I don't know. But I don't know. I'll have to look at that, and then when we come back next time, I'll have done reading on it. Can you pull us out, Peter? Please?
Yes. Do you want to hear the depressing news?
Okay, what's the depressing news?
So we had 6 minutes left, and we covered so much that for next week we have 4 minutes and 44 seconds left. just saying.
Really funny.
Yeah, but before we dip out, we need to because they always have this on PragerU. And now I don't have sound. Because that was reset as well.
I love it. I love watching it every time.
Yeah, but the people didn't have sound, so.
Oh, no.
No sound. Okay, next week. That's what you get.
Okay, when we do it next week, we'll have it back.
Your internet gives in, and then everything goes to pieces slowly, just like the United States.
Well, we're going to pieces quickly. Let me tell you, we're on the fast train. Yeah. So, all right. Yeah, now's a really bad time to be like a World War II historian, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So thank you, Peter, for being here and for hosting the show.
You're welcome.
And thank you, everybody in the live chat, for watching. I appreciate all of you being here. I'm proud of you guys. Burning the entire show with chit chat. Not wasted fun. Yeah, well, next time I'll try to be a bit more brief with the chit chat before we get into the PragerU.
I mean,
All right.
it's only half an hour. It was only half an hour, Jackson. I mean,
that's true.
On an hour-long show, what's half an hour?
Oh, I'm not Dr. Wheat. Maybe one day, but not anytime in the near future. But one day I hope to be Dr. Wheat, so we shall see. All right, everybody. We'll have
there's a university, Jackson, where you can just pay $100. It's
you know what? You're right.
I've heard people do
You're
it.
So right. All right, everybody. Have a good night, and we'll see you guys next week. So bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.